No X-rays for saints. X amount of pain. For the unforgiven moments. Bones. Painted. Formidable amount of pain. Searching for remedies. Wrapped in solitude as the bones creaks. It covets me. Reminds me of the moments of madness. The placebo days. Trying to trick oneself. Hoping to relinquish redundant, passionate ways. Hello everyone, welcome back to Po3tryJournal podcast. I am your host, Alex Murdoch. Looking good, feeling good. Sipping on some juice today. This is water and lemonade. Water and lemon juice, so nothing special. But yeah, what I just said there, just off the top, this one, not a new creation. This piece is called Painted Pain, and I tell you what, let me go through it again. It's one of my favorites. So this, for the purpose of the podcast, is the reason why I'm doing this one. And so let me just go through it again. Hopefully you can get a bit more, if you're new to the podcast especially, another chance for it to kind of sink in. That's the reason why I like to do it twice. Okay. Here we go. Painted Pain. No X-rays for saints. X amount of paint. For the unforgiven moments. Bones. Painted. Formidable amount of pain. Searching for remedies. Wrapped in solitude as the bones creaks. It covets me. Reminds me of the moments of madness. Hoping to relinquish redundant, passionate ways. As I've said, this one is Painted Pain, and it's one of my most favorite pieces. Which leads me to what I really want to speak about today. Let me just get this right. Just getting the book. Yeah, so what I'm showing right now is, if you're watching, this is Po3tryJournal Growing Pains. And this is one of the, if you read it before, you've noticed this is one of the, you would know that this is one of the pieces from the book. Po3tryJournal Growing Pains. And yes, so this is pretty much what I really want to go through today. And maybe perhaps bring people closer to the book, my method of madness, my forms of expression inside the book. Perhaps read a few pieces from the book also, so you, and maybe break it down so you have an idea of where I'm coming from, but when speaking about certain things, and just perhaps even memories, or maybe speak about some personal things that inspired some of this. Because as you know, most of my writing is really much from it's pretty much from experience, from life experience. And but art is a thing where once you feel you're able to kind of pretty much turn, if you're an artist, you can turn anything into art, depending on what type of artist you are. So poetry is my art, and it's my form of expression. And I just find that with what I do, it's almost like, whatever the experience is, good, bad. I must say as well, when I started, I've been writing poetry for a long time, since I was a teenager. And when I first started, it was all about love poetry. Like, that was all I wrote. Even then, it was just a hobby. It was just something. I never really saw it as how I saw it, as how I see it now. As in, like, it's more than just an art for me. It's therapy. It's, of course, expression, but it's therapy. It's very therapeutic. If your art is very therapeutic, and I think that's the relief you get from actually understanding and paying attention to. I like to think that's what it is, where when you pay attention to somebody's another artist perhaps, and you're getting something from it. A part of what you're getting from it is actually therapy. And maybe I like to think, especially when it comes to my art, I like to think that, my form of expression is a way of certain people that maybe, even if you're just relating alone, or perhaps you lack the voice or the voice to express in a certain way, I like to think that the way I do it, people would I'm maybe giving a voice to people that can't express it in a certain way, or perhaps express it in the way I like to do it, or just the way I do it. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, like this book, especially going back to it, if you've ever read this book, and I did quite a few themes to begin with in the book, and the themes pretty much revolve around love to begin with. I would think nobody really wanted to start a book with just pure darkness, but there is a lot of darkness in there as well. But like I said, to begin with, at first, is just light, just love, poetry, and then things. I try to make it like build up to the more complex pieces I have in there. So at first, you have love poetry, and then you have it builds to heartbreak and pain and darkness, and it's almost like you get to a place where you notice where the sun started to shine again, and it's almost like rehab, like an artistic rehab in a sense. And from there, what you get is almost like you start to thrive again. And in a sense, food for thought, things learned, things, wisdom, wisdom born from experience, in my opinion. And I guess what I'm trying to say is like, and obviously this wasn't something that, you know, just happened overnight. This was something that took me around, let's say, about 2 years or so to put together. So it's in essence literally a part of who I am that I've kind of put in this book. So yeah, it means a lot to me. So definitely perhaps think about, you know, checking it out and see what I'm talking about. But yes, definitely 2 years. And yeah, so to begin with, of course, you know, we're talking about love poetry. So I don't think I've really mentioned like much about, you know, my experience per se, just things derived from my experience. And of course, in this case, you know, you can't talk about love poetry, well, you can't really talk about love unless you've been in love, kind of thing. And you can't talk about heartbreak, pain, darkness, and all these things unless you've experienced it, you know, in a sense. Even if I think you probably could from an artistic point, but there's only so much depth that you can go to. And so I would like to imagine that people get the gist that I took it to a very, well, I took it to a great depth in terms of like just the way I speak about things. But obviously it's all in my own way. It's all in my own expression. It's my art. So of course it's going to be unique to me. But yes, of course, I say that to say that I experience all of it in terms of like the pain, the heartbreak, and yes, when you feel like, you know, you're in a situation where you think this is it, like, and in terms of like things like this is what you want for the rest of your life, in terms of like, you know, being with somebody and those feelings are reciprocated, and you know, it's every day is special, and you know, all that loving stuff, you know, the good stuff, the great stuff, because you know it was great. And yeah, I still hold that opinion in terms of like, yeah, it was a great situation in terms of like pretending to love until but me being, like I said, wisdom speaking now, you know, nothing lasts forever. And that might be a little bit pessimistic, but at the same time I'm still a realist in terms of like, you know, all things come to an end, whether it's after a lifetime, in terms of like, say you're with somebody and it was a good thing until, you know, one of us passes away. You know, that's still an ending to something great. You know what I mean? So there's many ways to for things ending. It's not always a heartbreak. It's not always, you know, tragic, but it's always it always ends in the end. So I guess what I'm saying is choose your poison. You know, sooner or later things change. And I've kind of grown. Well, I have grown to see things in that light where I understand. I'm big on understanding, and I think that's been a big a tool of mine to almost aid me in bringing closure to whatever situation that I go through. And I'm not sure if many people have noticed, but when it comes to what the way I write poetry, I think a lot of people, you know, for the most part, you get inspired by your experience, or like, you know, by your pain, etc., etc. But I actually explore my pain, in a sense. I explore the darkness. I explore the tragedy. Like, I mean, how could you not and say you understand? You know, that's a big thing. But I don't think a lot of people would. I could be wrong, but I just feel like, I just think that a lot of people don't do it in that way. And I think there's something unique about that. And in my opinion, I can see that in what I do in my writing, and my way of expression. You know, I guess maybe that's the part. That's maybe a method to the madness, in a sense. And I don't know. I've kind of always done it like that. And you know, to that I would say, because you have to remember, I've not. I've written. I'm a serious writer now and a poet, of course, but I've been an athlete for a long time. And the one thing about athletics is you can't hide. There's nowhere to hide. When you got training and you got, like, say, like 6 300s to do, or things like that, where you just know it's absolute pain coming your way, and this is like, you're thinking about this on Sunday or Monday, and these 300s are like on Friday, and you know, it's so dire in your head where it's almost like there's no way, there's nothing you can do in terms of like trying to forget your situation. Like, there's no way you can forget it, because you know what that's about. And I think that alone, it puts you in a place where you have no choice but to embrace what it is that you've got coming. And I think, you know, a lot of things that I've experienced, not only in life but on the track, running, being an athlete, I think it all cultivates who I am, and in a sense it has molded me into a person that I am, but also the what's the word I'm looking for? The way I express, the way I go about understanding things. And so even in this situation where we're talking about pain, we're talking about heartbreak, we're talking about darkness. Like even for example, one of the biggest things is like when you're in a dark place, it's almost like, I think that everybody can kind of relate to this, where when you're in a dark place, no matter what the reason, whether it's a heartbreak or you just literally, man, heartbreak covers so much, because you actually lose someone to death, or yeah. But either way, when you're in a dark place, it's almost like when you get up every day, it's like you're in a hole where you're thinking, as you go through the day, you're better, you're all right, you're figuring it out, you're better than you were a couple of hours ago, and you're thinking, okay, tomorrow is better. But you wake up tomorrow and you're back to square one, like you're back in your exact situation, trying to find a way. And I think, I did my best. Well, of course, you can be the judge of it, but I always go about expressing myself in a way where people can always relate to where I'm coming from, or where I am. Because one of the biggest thing to me when I'm writing poetry is honesty. You have to come from a real place. I think that one of the best way to relate to this for me is comedy. And I think the reason why I say that, because I've heard from many great comedians that it all starts with being honest with your expression. And indirectly, I never really thought about it until now, but you're talking about the comparison between the two, but I would say that's a commonality, in a sense, where when you're coming from an honest place, you're able to create profound, beautiful, artistic, relative things. And I do believe in this book very much, and I'm big on the self-validation as well. So for me personally, when I read the book, the one thing about my art, especially this book, or just my DNA to writing, is I always find when I read my poetry, it puts me back in a mindset, not only in a mindset, but the situation, or close to it, to where I was when I wrote what I wrote. Whether it's poetry, it was when it's poetry. And this goes for everything, whether it's a memory or it's a feeling, or you're just remembering the pain or feeling the pain, or where it was derived from, but I embrace it all. That's the biggest thing about what I do. I embrace it all. And I guess I would like to read one or two for you. So, let me not forget. One of the biggest thing that happened to me, we're speaking about loss as well and heartbreak, was I lost someone very close to me around the time that I was dropping this book. And this was not only like, you know, I see this person over a decade, well, over a decade now I've known him. And this was my coach for athletics, which is now like, it's like a big brother, a father, an uncle, all wrapped up in one. And, you know, we spoke like every day. And there was also a piece in here. It's called, let me see. It's called Until I See You Again. And with that one, I think I would like people to go find that piece themselves and read that one. It's one of the ones that near and dear to my heart. So definitely reach out if you're in the US or even abroad. As long as you have access to Amazon, you should be able to get my book. But if you're in the UK, find me on WordPress, Alex Murdoch on WordPress, and that's if you want a special copy sent directly from me. I do all the posting. I had little treats in there for people as well, and signed. Yeah, reach out on WordPress, and for sure I'll be sure to send you a copy, all paid for by myself. Because the expression and the message is the most important part for me. I really want people to get what I'm saying and understand where I'm coming from. That's the biggest part. The art, the work is so important for me. So I would really love people to, show your support and go out, or should I say, go online, go on, mate, and get yourself a copy of this book by Alex Murdoch. Po3tryJournal, Growing Pains. But as I said, I was gonna read a few pieces. I'll read 3 pieces. I'll start with something simple. Okay, here we go. Balance in your shade. It says, lemonade made with such a sweet face, sweet and delicate to the taste, a drift of drama with a hint of shade, balance in your aura, your psyche demands it. I see the Carmen in your trance, meticulously put together, powerful yet simple romance. Ironically, it was your scent of transparency that improved my clarity. Now I have realized I am where I need to be. That was Balancing Your Shade. Do you know what? I think I'll do the next one. One of the ones I actually like, you know. As soon as we're here. Cold Summer. yeah, quite the juxtapose, but here we go. Elementary, in a sense of simplicity, conveying how much you mean to me. Head quiz, a juxtapose at times, lacking consistency. Unlike how much you feel for me. In a sense, it stays, it sits and ponder, a wonderland, a special place you've made. Beautiful with extra summer and extra shade. Unlike the past, we are what we want to be. And to know of what is, you can clearly see. Ordinance in clarity. Ordinance with clarity, sorry. The future is not an unnatural contemplation. It is encouraged to breathe, exhaling with ease, slow releases, careful to check for a pulse. Then with a skip of a beat, off she goes. A beautiful trend with so much to say, relaying your every thought. Checking the temperature, it ranges between extremes like the weather. And so I never leave without my specifics. Though ever the critic, I dare not attempt to predict the unpredictable. For your underlayers remain well hidden. And that was Cold Summer. You know? Like I said, you know, when I read my own stuff, it always put me in a place or almost like a trance. I'm just like, oof. You know, I remember where I was, or you know what I feel, and but here we go. This is the last one I wanna share with people. It's called I Am Not a Star. To be a star is to finally be who you are. For the world proceeds to feed from your light. For so many twilight, it is somewhat unprecedented. Elemental, I am not a star, for when I look upon you, I see the true definition.
It's 15 hours.
Sorry about that, that's my laptop. I'm not a star, for when I look upon you, I see the true definition and the ultimate revealing. Screaming how true you are and your being. It has proven me worthy, for to see the God in you has led me to being, seeing the light in me, revealing the skies in need for a light like me, decreed to be yet unknown, and so a star is born. Thus I shine. I feel that one. Do you know what? I'm kind of getting into it. Let me do one more. You know what I mean? You know, I did mention heartbreak, etc., etc. So let me just let this last one be towards that, where, because like I said, it was never all, you know, that was just the beginning where things are just sweet. Here is something from the days of the recovery. I can see your pain. I don't know what I was thinking there. I just literally just went off the script. Here we go again. I can feel your pain. I can hear the screams. It compels my hearing, reverberating through dimensions. It heightens my senses, My troubled aura constantly eyeing through the curtains, paranoia personified. The very definition of expectations. Piles of arrhythmia. My vibrations have never been the same. It peaks and tweaks to heights that can't be tamed. So I sit and wait, suffocating the need to contemplate. I hope not too late. As always, my efforts I dare not approximate. Doing for you is doing for my soul. Thankful the reshaping have left me unscathed. And yes, so if you want to hear more stuff, and by the way, this at the back of the book, this is my logo, which is Dream, Imagine, Express, which I've updated, and it would be different if you buy a copy now. It'd be more modernized, of course. But yes, I think everybody would really love what I have to say in this book, and I just wanted to take some time to break it down and help you kind of understand more, where perhaps have more of an idea of where, you know, my inspiration comes from. And hopefully if you do get this book, or when you get this book, you can understand more of what I'm talking about. But I want to say, of course, thanks to everybody that supports what I'm doing. And you know what, next time maybe I'll break down something else next time. Let me know what you think. But you know, I want to stick to the poetry, so this was the greatest place to start in terms of like my own publishings. And that's one of the reasons why I've always published my books independently, especially the poetry, because you know it's so important to me to express my writing or my poetry in my way, like specifically through my DNA of poetry. And so because it means so much to me. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in and hearing what I have to say. You know, as always, you can hear. Oh, let me just remind everyone, because Into the Abyss audiobook is also available on Spotify it's on sale. Well, sorry, you can buy it on Spotify. That's what I'm trying to say. So I really would like everyone that listens to what I'm doing and like to support where I'm trying to get to. Please reach out and get yourself Into the Abyss audiobook on Spotify, available now. I would love some support from the people that listen to what I'm doing. Of course, again, Po3tryJournal, as we've just spoken about, Growing Pains. There's also my first ever publishing, which is Po3tryJournal, Dream, Imagine, Express. See, that's my first ever, and so I really wanted to kind of put my whole idea of everything that encapsulates my creativity on display. And so Dream, Imagine, Express has always been my way to creativity, or perhaps a formula to creativity. So thanks everyone for listening, and hopefully I hear from you soon. Just reach out on Dream, Imagine, Express, dreamimagine.express, or Po3tryJournal on Instagram, or just search my name, Alex Murdoch, and you'll be sure to find something on Google. But yes, thanks everyone for listening, and take care. Till next time.